Okay, hello, good morning. I wanted to start today's lesson with just looking over some of your responses from Tuesday's lesson. So you can see kind of how your classmates responded, how everyone in general is feeling about the AP Psychology exam. So overall, I can scroll through some of the responses. I noticed two main themes, and I think both of them make a lot of sense. I feel like one main theme I noticed is this feeling of anxiety and nervousness that the exam is going to be different than anything we've experienced in the past, or kind of how we were preparing for and thinking about the test up until this point. So it's going to be at home, it's going to be shorter, it's going to be two free response questions. I think kind of those changes that all happen very suddenly, along with many other changes in our lives, is producing a lot of nervousness and anxiety around an already stressful thing, which is a test. So I just want to validate that. I think that makes a lot of sense, to be nervous. I know I've been saying like, oh, this will be easier, but I also just want to acknowledge and validate that it is a change from what we were expecting. So that's a very real feeling, to be feeling anxious about something changing suddenly like this. Yeah, a lot of answers like that. And then there were quite a few people who were also talking about, the other side of the coin, which is feeling like the open note nature of the exam will be a little bit easier. So feeling calmer. And then a lot of people kind of said both. They were like, well, I feel like I can put together a really good cheat sheet so I can have a lot of support and resources during the exam, but also I'm nervous. So feeling both things at the same time. Let's go through a few more responses. Feel calm, feel anxious, feel prepared and ready. I'm glad it's open note. I hope this is an interesting answer. I'm glad it's open note considering that's how most college exams are. That's true for some classes, yes. It's unfair to have us memorize so much in 1 year and to have such a long exam to determine if we're good enough or not. Putting it harshly. I hope this system is implemented in years to come. I think that's a really good point. Maybe AP will change the way they structure exams after this and make the focus less on memorizing hundreds of vocabulary terms that could be easily Googled, and more about, open note exams that are more writing about your application of those ideas. I feel unprepared because I was preparing for multiple choice and now we need to throw this out the window. I feel like I won't do as well. That's a very real and valid feeling as well. We have been practicing a lot of multiple choice, and now that's no longer a thing. Our practice on multiple choice still was good because you still have more exposure and practice to applying the terms. Even though you won't be doing a multiple choice question, you'll still be using the same concepts that we practiced. And good practice for future multiple choice exams, but also a very valid response as well. I'm calm but nervous because it's something new. I've stayed up to date with my psych classwork and I'm understanding it. Not good. I'm very good at multiple choice and I feel like less questions hinders my ability to stand out on the test. There's a lot less room for error. Yep, that's a real anxiety as well. I feel prepared, but I need some review. I'm nervous because I don't know how it's going to be, so I'm pretty anxious to find out. So again, just like that anxiousness that comes with uncertainty and not knowing what to expect. I just hope I know every term they want us to write about so that I don't fail. Yeah, that's very valid. I also want to point out a few kind of common misconceptions or things that came up in these responses that hopefully will help clear the air about a few things. Sorry, I didn't mean to make this video too long. So some people were asking like, what exactly does open notes mean? Like, does that mean that I have to have like physical, like written out notes? Does that mean that I can only have certain documents open? Open note literally means any resource you could possibly think of is available to you. So you could literally Google every single thing on the test. Google is 100% available to you. We'll talk more about when that's not a good idea. But that's always, like, literally always available. And you could literally have your online textbook open. I'll show you some faster ways to navigate that. You can have any of the notes that you've taken all year open. So we'll work more as time goes on and figuring out maybe what are the 2 or 3, what are the 1 to 3 like resources that you're gonna have open during the exam, and making sure you have a lot of practice with navigating that and getting to the information that you need the fastest in a way that's going to give you the maximum amount of time to just not worry about looking things up, but actually have time to like think through the question and answer and construct your response. So open note means 100% open note. Any resources available. The other thing I wanted to emphasize is that as we're taking these notes, which you start, like the review notes, which we started earlier this week, I want to make sure that you only are putting things in your cheat sheet, your reference sheet, that make 100% sense to you. So the exam is literally definitions no longer will score you any points because those are easily accessible. So having just like a definition in your notes that you don't really understand or can't apply won't be super helpful. What will be helpful is putting everything into your own words in your reference or your cheat sheet, so that you have, when you like look up things during the exam, it's already in language that you quickly understand and that you can then translate into application. So again, I don't want to overwhelm you. We'll talk much more about this over the next month, but just as you're taking notes in all of your AP classes and in this one as well, just think about never just copying the definitions. Real helpful notes in this case will always be putting things in your own words and giving strong examples. Especially in psychology, we know it's super important to have examples about our real lives that relate to these concepts. Okay, the last major theme I wanted to follow up on, this is an important one, is there are a few people who are talking about being nervous because they don't think that they'll have a fully quiet place in their house to take the exam. So for those people who mentioned in this survey, I've already reached out to the AP coordinator, Ms. Wyatt, and she will hopefully, nothing is 100% certain in these times, but she's pretty sure she can figure out a way to put together a system where you can come into school and take the test in empty classrooms, to have like a completely 100% quiet space to take the test. So she will be in contact. She's the one in charge of that. But please reach out like as soon as possible to either me or Miss Wyatt if you feel like that would be a good option for you, if you feel like you would benefit from taking the exam in like a completely quiet space at school versus in your own house. That can definitely be arranged, and you don't have to like be worried about that alone. We're here to help you think through issues like that before the AP. Okay, that is it for responding to your commonly asked questions from last time. I just wanted to also quickly shout out 2 statistics. So one amazing statistic is that 89% of you have presented your final projects, which, I mean, when you just think about all the work that went into, we dove into independent learning, you met with groups, like figuring out how to contact each other through all these technological ways. Some of you didn't even know your group members before, so you're like forming these new relationships, which can feel vulnerable. And 89% of you were there with like a fully completed project and presented to me and to your peers on video chat, which is like in our teacher meetings, adults have been really nervous about presenting on video because it's so new and so vulnerable. And like all of you just took the reins and completely, just killed it at presenting over video. So I just want to express how grateful I am for all of the work that you put into that project, and what a high participation rate we had considering how many crazy things are happening. It's beautiful to see the commitment to your education. The other statistic is that we have about 70% participation in general in like everyday class activities. I'm including like making sure these are people that are turning in like longer assignments, like the timed write, and they're also doing like the longer FRQs on AP Classroom in addition to turning in the daily or the weekly lesson surveys. And we're hovering around 70% participation. LPS as a school is about 50% participation right now. So about 70% is pretty good considering how many things are going on, how many circumstances are shifting and changing, and to still have such an active community through psychology is really amazing. So thank you for listening. Please feel free again to reach out if you have any further questions about those frequently asked questions. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.